welcome back. If this is your first time watching any of our videos, my name is Dane, and me and a partner of mine run a custom hay baling operation. And so as you can see, we have plenty of equipment behind us. So anyway, today we're going to do a little bit of preventative maintenance. Take that mower, it's a Vermeer TM1200, and we need to hook it up to this tractor. Right now we had this one hooked up to our baling rig, which is, you know, a FlexRec 12-wheel rig, and it allows you to pull the baler at the same time. And I'll get into that. We'll do another video on that to explain how that all works, but it's one of the best investments we've ever made, along with the Vermeer TM1200. That's it. Unhook, now the hard part. Hey guys, y'all might notice a different shirt. Well, we're still doing maintenance. We ran into a ton of rain. It's between September 1st and October, well, what's today? So 2 days ago, October 23rd, we had 21 inches of rain. So we've actually been sitting idle for quite a few days, try to get some maintenance in. So if you remember in the last video, Ryan was shredding with this thing, this booger. So I just unhooked it, and it's time to go hook it up to, well, the mower's sitting over there, but we're going to hook it up to the TM800. It's a 10-foot hay mower, and this is a John Deere 4255-89 model, I believe. Alright, well that kind of whooped my butt. The PTO shaft didn't want to go on. But anyway, we got it. So this is the TM1200. Vermeer TM1200. Alrighty, so there it is, TM1200 folded out. It's actually 15'8", I misspoke earlier, but anyway, they consider it a 16-foot trailed mower, pulled behind our 79 model, arguably one of the best tractors ever made, John Deere 4440. Yep. Alright, so let's talk about this blade change. So what we are doing, there's about, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so 12 turtles total. It's on 2 cutter bars. These 2 cutter bars float independently of each other, so they hug the ground real well. And what we're doing is changing out these little dudes, blades. Some look pretty good. Like this one's, these is probably a new blade. And then you have some like that, where the blades are kind of dulled up, probably hit a few rocks. So anyway, Vermeer makes it real easy for us. They give us this little hammer / pry bar, and what it is you use this little lever, to pry these clips off. And then you punch the pin through. You can either flip the blade. Vermeer gives you, well actually almost all mower manufacturers give you two edges. When one gets dulled up, you flip it and you go about your business until both sides are chewed up. Then you actually got to change it out, and or some people grind them. But today we're just going to change them all. We got a lot of ground to cover, and we don't feel like having to change blades twice. Well, now that the blade change is done, oh yeah. Well, it's Saturday. Still a little too wet to mow some hay, but yesterday I couldn't fill up the tractors because I never hooked up the pump on my new truck. See, it's still got paper plates. Ooh. But anyway, so got it hooked up, and we're gonna start filling these. Got a 100-gallon tank in the back. And these girls are thirsty. I think they hold 55 gallons apiece, so we'll fill them up so we can be ready to go tomorrow. While those guys are getting filled up, I just wanted to kind of talk about this Vermeer TM1200 disc mower. Beautiful machine. I might have mentioned that before, but anyway, I just kind of wanted to do an in-depth look at it. So it is a Vermeer TM1200 2013 model, and we'll start at the front. So we got two hydraulic couplers. Let's see if it'll adjust. Two hydraulic couplers, one here and one here. This is for the swing and the fold. This is for the raise lower. 1000 PTO shaft that feeds this monster. And if you'll notice, it's a 2-point hookup. So instead of being hooked up to the drawbar down there, it's actually hooked up to the 3-point, or the 2-point technically. So instead of the mower actually pivoting when you turn back here on the drawbar, it has its own set of double gearboxes that it pivots back here in the back. So what that allows is for some tight turning and amongst other things, pivot side to side. I can show you on the TM800 what the differences are. But and then it uses the third link as a chain, basically, to hold it in place. It allows us to get that drive shaft nice and flat. And so that's pretty much the front of it. Here's all your hydraulics going in, and then of course this is this thing has hydraulic suspension. So there's a tube canister way in the back that fills up, that allows for suspension on this mower, so so the cutter bar floats rather than just digging into the ground. Pretty nice feature. You adjust it here based on pressure regulation. Anyway, so that's pretty much the front of it. Of course, kickstand. So the PTO shaft comes into your, first it hits a centrifugal clutch, or friction plates, friction clutch. That way if we lock up any of these gearboxes, we don't screw up the tractor by any means. First gearbox comes in, then straight down to another gearbox. Actually, I guess it's the same gearbox. And then it splits to either side of the mower where it hits another gearbox, which then powers the cutter bar. So anyway, as you can see, two cutter bars, each one are about 8 feet long, más y menos a few inches. The reason they did two cutter bars was so that they would float independently and be able to hug the ground together instead of one long cutter bar. So that with that feature, it allows basically for a better finished product, finished cut. So anyway, so here are your hydraulic folding cylinders, and then there's your center pivot. So this mower will cut on either side of the tractor, which is nice. You can go any direction, doesn't matter. Here's your gauge adjustment, or your height adjustment. You can cut between, I think, 2 and 6 inches, and that's pretty much it. All right, so this here is our Vermeer TM1200. Obviously we go with Vermeer because they are the best hay tool out there. Some would argue, but we've had really good luck with them. This old bird here has been around the block quite a few times. It's a 10-foot cut, 9 foot 10 inches or whatever. But anyway, same style cutter bars, a TM1200. You know, what is that, 8 disc? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Same blades. These were just recently changed, so I didn't have to change much of them. They're ready to go. So this is what I was talking about. Rather than it being a 2-point where it hooks up to your 3rd-point hitch, this one actually hooks up to the drawbar. And so this is kind of the same. 2 remotes. One's pickup, one's swing. And remember, this one only swings to one side, so we can only cut on the right side of the tractor, so it's going to sit way out here when it cuts. We get to cut hay today.